Welcome back to The Explainer. Look, today we're bypassing all the fluff and jumping straight into the visceral reality of what it actually takes to win. The source material we're digging into makes a bold, uncompromising claim. Ambition, discipline, and hardship are completely intertwined. You literally cannot separate victory from suffering.
So, let's hit this with a hard question right out of the gate. Is greatness actually worth the struggle? The sources suggest that the other side of suffering is this entirely different world, a world most people don't even know exists. But getting there, well, it demands a price paid in full. You've got to decide right now if you are willing to pay it.
They bluntly contrast an easy life with a life of great character. Basically, you just can't have both. To achieve true success, comfort has to go. Take a trust fund kid, right? Inherits a massive fortune but ends up completely mentally tortured. Why? Because simply having stuff isn't actually fun. The pursuit, getting the stuff, that's the fun part. That struggle is exactly what builds your character.
So, what is the actual price of this greatness? We have to wake up to reality here and look at the starting line. There is this terrifying illusion of unlimited time when we're young. The text warns us that if you spend your youth constantly seeking comfort and dodging the hard work, you're going to face some brutal consequences down the line. Chasing that immediate gratification feels totally harmless in the moment, but eventually, time runs out. One day, you just wake up and you're 40.
Coasting through your 20s and 30s basically guarantees you'll hit age 40 with zero leverage, zero power, and just deep, heavy regret. The authors argue something profound here. The hardest thing in life isn't failing while you're trying. Actually, no, scratch that. The absolute hardest thing is realizing you've run out of time to try and all that potential you had was just wasted.
Now, there's a really crucial distinction to make. You can transition from failure to success, for sure, but you absolutely cannot go from making excuses to success. Failing forward is what the sources call a good miss, because you're actually learning from it. Excuses, on the other hand, they're a dead industry. At the end of the day, life is going to give you exactly what you tolerate.
Now that we know the massive cost of doing nothing, let's talk about leaving that comfort zone and fully embracing the incline.
We've got this fantastic insight from James Clear here. He says, to crave the result but not the process is to guarantee disappointment. Think about that. If you aren't willing to endure the gritty, difficult lifestyle required to succeed, you kind of have to just release yourself from wanting the result at all. It makes zero sense to want the prize if you completely refuse to run the race.
It's literally like going to the gym. If building muscle were easy, nobody would have a reason to go. The sources point out that walking into a massive library might make you feel uneducated, just like stepping into the gym on day one makes you feel physically weak. You have to be willing to feel weak and humbled first. Facing that daily friction is the only way to eventually become strong. Without the challenge, there's just no growth.
The authors draw this super stark contrast between being a nice guy and being a good man. A nice guy just goes along to get along, right? He stays perfectly comfortable and kind of lacks discernment. But a good man, he actually has ideals. He stands for things and against things, and he truly proves his worth when he's tested by the fire of life. Of course, as you climb higher, you're going to face storms, the doubters, the haters, and your own internal fears. We have to figure out how to navigate that. The sources bring up this really fascinating concept called sonder. Have you ever been stuck in traffic at like 2 in the morning, and you look over at the car next to you and suddenly realize that person has a life as vivid and intensely complex as your own? That's sonder. It's the realization that we aren't the center of the universe. Everyone is dealing with their own profound struggles, which means we really need to stop hyper-analyzing ourselves and worrying about what other people think. Trust me, they're way too busy with their own lives to judge yours.
And here's what's truly mind-blowing. Even the most mentally calloused individuals on the planet, guys like David Goggins, struggle immensely with internal resistance. We always assume these tough-as-nails people never feel the urge to quit. But he admits that sometimes he'll stare at his running shoes for half an hour before finally putting them on. They struggle just like the rest of us. The difference is they've developed the superpower to act despite that feeling. To silence the noise, you have to shift your focus away from the fake illusions of social media. Stop pretending to be perfectly happy on TikTok and lock in on your actual vision. Ignore the naysayers, hold true to your beliefs, and, maybe most importantly, give yourself permission to fail. Even if everything goes completely sideways, keep going. Because the sources guarantee that if you hold on, eventually, the tables will turn.
Motivation is going to fade, though. That brings us to the unglamorous mechanics of daily execution.
prioritizing consistency over intensity.
We learned pretty quickly that massive, one-time bursts of intensity are basically useless. I mean, if you go to the gym for 9 hours straight in one single day, are you going to get in shape? No way. But 20 minutes every single day? That consistency guarantees results. The person who shows up, rain or shine, regardless of how they feel, is always going to outpace the person who only puts in the work when a sudden wave of motivation hits them.
But look, raw effort on its own just isn't enough. Taking action without a structured plan is a massive trap. It's the root cause of so much frustration and underachievement. The sources highly recommend writing out every single step you need to take to accomplish your objective, because blindly grinding without a map, that is just a one-way, fast-track ticket to burnout.
Think of Benjamin Franklin's classic rule: early to bed, early to rise, makes a man young, wealthy, and wise. Anchoring your day with real discipline, a solid routine, and early morning gratitude, that sets the foundation for winning your daily battles. Waking up and intentionally being grateful for another day grounds you. You can't force time to move faster. You can only execute on the day right in front of you.
And finally, we reach the summit. After all the daily grinds, the failures, and the internal battles, what is the ultimate reward for all this suffering?
The profound truth revealed here is that the real prize isn't a pile of money, a shiny trophy, or even reaching the destination itself. It is entirely about the person you forge yourself into along the journey. Your zip code, your last name, the setbacks you faced, none of that defines you. You are defined by your vision, your relentless work ethic, and your iron will.
By facing the struggle head-on, you build what they call the struggle muscle. You realize that becoming exceptionally skilled at something, whether you're a surgeon, a coder, or a fighter, is the absolute best investment you can ever make. Why? Because those abilities cannot be taken away or inflated away from you. This journey gives you a profound peace of mind and, surprisingly, builds a stunning core of ethical resilience that can survive literally any circumstance.
But amidst this relentless, crazy drive for greatness, there's a vital reminder. While you are striving for more, you possess inherent worth right now, exactly where you are on this journey. Almost everyone is desperate to hear that they are capable of greatness, but they also desperately need to know they are enough today. It's a really beautiful balance to strike in a life fueled by intense ambition.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with the choice, a thought straight from the sources. Will you step up, embrace the pain of growth today, face the friction, and see what incredible things happen when you absolutely refuse to give up on yourself? Or will you choose the temporary, easy comfort of right now, only to pay the agonizingly heavy price of regret tomorrow? The move is entirely yours.